Have you ever thought about how a single mistake, just one wrong turn, could completely change your life? Well, we're about to dive into the story of how one man's accidental slip-up sent him on a journey that would end up revealing his true cosmic destiny. This is the incredible story of the hero, Arjuna. So, let's set the scene, because it is incredibly tense. You've got 5 of the world's greatest warriors, the Pandava brothers, and they're all married to the same woman, the fierce and powerful queen, Draupadi. As this quote hints, their shared love was like walking a tightrope, one that was bound to snap. All right, so to stop jealousy from completely ripping their family apart, they had to come up with a rule, a very, very strict rule. It was a simple promise, really, but breaking it came with a penalty so harsh you wouldn't believe it. And as we're about to see, this rule is going to force an impossible choice between duty and a sacred vow. So, on the advice of their friend Krishna, here's the deal they made. Each brother would get to be with Draupadi exclusively for 1 full year, a rotation system. But here's the catch. If any other brother so much as walked into her chambers during that year, the punishment was immediate and non-negotiable. A full year of exile from the kingdom. No exceptions. And then, of course, the unthinkable happens. Thieves are making off with the kingdom's cattle, and the people are desperate for their hero, Arjuna, to step in. But, and you can see where this is going, his legendary bow is in Draupadi's chambers. And whose year is it? His brother Yudhishthira's. So Arjuna is stuck. Does he fail his people, or does he break the one rule he swore to uphold? He chooses his duty, grabs his bow, and without a single moment of hesitation accepts his fate. A year in exile. But you know, this exile, it turned out to be so much more than a punishment. It was a journey that completely reshaped him. Far from everything he knew, Arjuna was about to forge new relationships and powerful alliances, every single one of them critical for the massive war that was just over the horizon. And the people he met? Just incredible. On one hand, you have Ulupi, a mystical serpent princess, who literally pulls Arjuna down into her underwater kingdom, and then uses scripture to argue why he has to marry her. You can't make this stuff up. And then you've got Chitrangada, the warrior princess of Manipur. She's no damsel in distress. She's a fighter, and it was her strength that completely captivated Arjuna. And look, these weren't just love stories. Each marriage was a brilliant strategic move. With Ulupi, he gets a connection to the supernatural Naga world. With Chitrangada, he gets a powerful political ally on Earth. But the most important one, he elopes with Subhadra, the sister of his best friend Krishna. That move right there cements a divine alliance and gives him a son who would become a legend in his own right, the great Abhinamyu. So, Arjuna's journey wasn't just about making alliances. It was also a series of really intense tests. Of his skill, sure, but also of his honor and, maybe most importantly, of his pride. So check this out. You have an absolutely impossible situation. A celestial being named Gaia accidentally spits near Krishna. Krishna, furious, swears an oath to kill him. Gaia, terrified for his life, runs to Arjuna and begs for protection, and Arjuna gives his sacred word. So now you have 2 of the best friends in the entire universe, each bound by a sacred oath that forces them to fight each other to the death. And the stakes? Oh, just the entire world. Krishna readies his ultimate weapon, the Sudarshan Chakra, and Arjuna grabs his divine bow, the Gandiva. A fight between these 2 would have been a cosmic apocalypse. It got so bad that the creator god Brahma himself had to swoop in and find a loophole. The solution? Krishna would technically kill Gaia to fulfill his oath, and Brahma would instantly bring him back to life, fulfilling Arjuna's. A divine technicality to save all of creation. Arjuna's next big test was all about his pride. He gets a little cocky and boasts that he could have built a way better bridge of arrows for Lord Rama than that old bridge of stones. And who should appear out of nowhere? The monkey god Hanuman, who challenges him to prove it. Arjuna builds his bridge, but Hanuman smashes it with one paw. Humiliated, Arjuna learns a huge lesson. A nearby sage tells him, try again, but this time say the name of God with every arrow. He does, and this time the bridge is so strong it doesn't even budge under Hanuman's weight. And the lesson from that whole encounter was spelled out for him by the sage, who drops this absolute bombshell of a truth. Skill alone means nothing without divine grace. He looks right at Arjuna and says, you are Nara, and he is Narayana. Man and God. This is a massive clue, a secret about his relationship with Krishna that is about to be revealed in the most spectacular way possible. And this, right here, is the climax of Arjuna's whole spiritual journey. And ironically, it's another broken promise. This time, his failure to protect a Brahmin's children that pushes him to the edge of total despair and right into the greatest discovery of his life. So, after failing to save a newborn baby he had promised to protect, Arjuna is ready to end it all. He prepares to walk into a fire, but Krishna stops him and says, "Wait, there is something you have to see." They get on a celestial chariot and take off on this impossible journey, flying past our world, across these strange, mystical oceans of fire and syrup, all the way to the very edge of reality itself. And there, floating in the center of the primordial sea of milk, Arjuna sees it, the source of everything. The supreme god, Vishnu, resting on the endless coils of the cosmic serpent. And cradled in Vishnu's arms, all the lost children, perfectly safe. Vishnu explains he brought them there just so Arjuna would have to follow, so that he could finally understand his real purpose. Vishnu then lays it all out for him. He tells Arjuna exactly what his relationship with Krishna is all about. Krishna isn't just his friend. He's the embodiment of divine wisdom. And Arjuna? He's the embodiment of worldly action. Apart, they're incomplete. One is useless without the other. But together they are an unstoppable force, destined to restore balance to the universe. And just like that, everything clicks. What the sage said earlier finally makes perfect sense. Arjuna and Krishna are the earthly forms of Nara and Narayana, the eternal sages, man and God, forever linked. Arjuna wasn't just some guy born into a royal family. He was a being of pure destiny, born for a divine mission. So, with this mind-blowing new understanding of who he is, Arjuna returns from exile. The Pandavas are finally back together. They're stronger than ever, and they're ready to claim what's theirs. But tragically, their greatest moment of triumph is about to sow the seeds of their own destruction. Now, to become true kings, they had one final obstacle. The most feared ruler in the land, the supposedly invincible King Jarasandha. But with Krishna's genius strategy, they trick Jarasandha into a wrestling match with the mighty Bhima. Krishna lets Bhima in on a secret. Jarasandha's body magically heals itself unless you tear it in two and throw the halves in opposite directions. Bhima does exactly that, clearing the last roadblock to the throne. And this leads to their absolute peak, their moment of pure glory. Yudhishthira is crowned emperor. Their city, Indraprastha, is the most magnificent place in the world, a symbol of justice and wealth. For a little while, it really seems like all their troubles are over. But with all that success comes a very potent poison: envy. Their cousin, Duryodhana, is touring their magical palace, and he is just completely confused. The shiny floors look like pools of water, and the actual pools look like solid floors. He takes a wrong step, and splash, he falls right into a pond, soaking wet in front of everyone. A moment of total, utter humiliation. And in that moment, as he's dripping wet and embarrassed, Draupadi lets out a laugh and says the words that would seal everyone's fate. The blind son of blind parents. It was a jab at both Duryodhana and his blind father, the king. And that one insult turned his jealousy into a cold, hard rage. Right then and there, he swore he would get his revenge. The whole celebration just falls apart. During the ceremony, another cousin, Shishupala, just will not stop insulting Krishna. Now, Krishna had promised Shishupala's mom he would forgive him 100 times, so he just patiently stands there and counts every single insult. But on insult number 101, Krishna has had enough. He unleashes his discus and kills him right there in the middle of the court. The whole thing causes a massive uproar, and a bunch of allied kings just storm out, leaving the new kingdom fractured from day one. So, we're left with this question, aren't we? Arjuna discovers his divine purpose. The Pandavas win their kingdom, and they reach the absolute height of their power. But in that very same moment of triumph, they lit a fire, a blood feud that would never go out. So, was this their greatest success? Or was it the exact moment that the great war of the Mahabharata became absolutely inevitable?